If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, episode 27, or as I like to say, season 2, episode 3.
Perfect. Lots and lots of shows out there don't make it this far. I mean, even on TV where they're spending millions of dollars, and God knows we have $1 million budget around here, but we're here. Here we are.
Well, if there was anyone to cancel us, we would have been canceled by now.
Yeah, you think? I think, yeah, that would be your son. Does your son? All right. So I don't want to know the answer to this because I was about to say, does your son have the stones to cancel his father? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, he probably does.
He would. Not a problem.
It's not working out for us. If we're going in a different direction, we don't need two old guys that are doing a podcast on this podcast network.
Every cliche you have ever heard in the radio business. Now, what BJ is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that as radio people, like we are, you hear the same line every time you're getting fired. We're going in a different direction. The consultant said we need to try something new. We're changing the format, whatever. So yes. So I don't know how many times I've heard those lines, and I know you have too, but
I have probably heard them at least a dozen times.
Oh my goodness.
We're going in a different direction. I go, well, I got a map. I'll go with you. Just continue to pay me, you sons of a bitches.
And somehow that doesn't really seem to work. They decide they don't want to pay you.
At least every once in a while, if you have a good contract, you might make 3 months pay while you're not doing a damn thing.
I have never had. I mean, I may have had like a pay period's worth, like 2 weeks, maybe a month, but never 3 months. No, never.
You need to work better on your contract.
Yeah, you're right. Better contract negotiations next time, which is not in this lifetime. Now, so who knows?
I did not get this, but I know of another radio personality that worked for a different company than we did in Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm.
And they got 6 months. But
that
person had been at that broadcast company for a lot of years. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay.
Probably more years than BJ and Bill were ever.
Oh, wow.
At one location.
That's a long time. Because we were
I don't know if I should give it away or not, but I think I'm almost sure he got 6 months, if not more.
It was probably years ago, right?
I'll just give you his initials and you'll know who he is. D.A.
D.A.
He worked for Fort Myers Broadcasting.
I'll figure it out. Nothing springs to mind.
The people that own Wink TV.
And okay.
You figured it out, didn't you?
I did. And he went on to bigger and better things.
Well, I don't know. He now works for the county or the city or something like that.
Okay.
I think, and then also he does
Does what?
For the Florida Everblades.
Oh, right. Yes. I was thinking of our friend Ted Fitzgeorge for that, but he's the baseball guy.
Yeah, he's the baseball guy.
He's been there. Spring training is hot and heavy, and he is in hog baseball heaven right now. So yeah.
And speaking of announcers there at Tico Arena, Germain Arena, Hertz Arena, whatever it is this week.
It's Hertz. Yes.
Yeah, I know it is, but
I know. I
just was going for the dramatic.
I hear you.
But I do want to, once again, we talked about this last time, want to wish Haney from the Stan and Haney show a very fast recovery. Hope he's feeling better. Was in the hospital, heard he had a stroke. So
wow.
BJ and Bill are wishing you the very best. I don't know. We'll have to, I should talk to Haney. I don't know if he's back on K-Rock yet or not, but they've been at K-Rock. Speaking of somebody who's been at many, many years at the same location, they've been there for
Stan and
ever.
Haney, our old friends. You bet.
Yeah.
Wow.
They did afternoons. And then of course, Howard Stern came in. And so they went to afternoons. They did mornings, went to afternoons, stayed in afternoons. And then Howard Stern left. They went back to mornings, and then Stern left. Somebody else came in, and now they're back to afternoons again. But they've been with the same company for at least, 30 years, maybe,
right?
Not more.
And that was the company your son was with for a long time. So yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they've never heard that we're going in a different direction.
That's just so lame. When a radio station says that is so lame. That's like, okay, you can't do your job. You can't create an audience. You can't whatever. So you blame it on. I guess if the disc jockey or the morning personality or something really, really is awful, then yes, you got a time for a change. But just to say that some high paid consultant comes in and says, oh, you got to switch things up a little, get some fresh faces in here. It's like, no, that never, I don't know that ever works. I have a good friend of mine. Shout out to Kent Jones at KOMA. Well, he's not there anymore. He's up in Seattle now. But anyway, was the morning man for an AM like nationwide, in Kansas City, I think. 25 years. He was on the same. He was the guy. 25 years. I so respect that, and so respect the radio station for keeping him all those years. Yes, he was good. He was great. BJ and Bill were great. We would have done the same thing. We would have, never mind. Never mind. It's just. Yeah,
we can't talk about spilled milk, but the only thing that got me in that particular situation that irked me the most, I think they kicked us when we were down. Mm-hmm. At least when I was down, for sure.
Mm-hmm. BJ Odom in a hospital bed recovering from a heart transplant surgery. Oh, by the way, you're being fired. Oh, great.
Oh, no. They were going in a different direction.
That's whatever. Here we are having a good time, enjoying life and living life and being happy and healthy. Now, you were talking about, our friends with health issues there and all that. And I spent an hour on the phone with an old friend of mine. Literally a guy that dates back to high school that I knew from high school. And then we ended up going to college together at Ohio University, not Ohio State, Ohio University, Athens, Ohio, in the broadcast business there in the broadcast thing. He never worked for broadcast stations, but he was a television video post-production editor, still is. The guy worked on, remember the big purple dinosaur? Remember him, the big purple dinosaur on public TV?
I believe, if I remember right, my kids were right about at least my daughter was right about the same age. So if
Barney the BPD, he worked on that show. His name is on the credits for that show. His name is on the credits for Wishbone, the storytelling dog.
Oh, wow.
And he's fantastic at what he does. But anyway, long story. I spent an hour on the phone with him literally just this week as we're releasing this podcast. And like a lot of other people, is literally now just getting out of the hospital after, heart bypass surgery. And this was the most health conscious guy I knew in college and for years after. He would jog every day. He worked out. He watched what he ate and all of that stuff. And it blows my mind to see people that I thought, oh, this guy's going to live forever or whatever, and I guess, is it just luck of the draw? Is it just bad genetics? Is it because he has a family history of heart problems and stuff like that. And as he told me, well, it finally caught up with me. And I'm like, I don't know, I consider myself so damned lucky, and I am so doggone grateful for the good health that I enjoy. So anyway, folks, just be happy and grateful and take care of yourself, I guess is what I'm saying there. So,
and I am just happy to be alive, because I tell you what, in the last few weeks, a lot of people that I know personally, even younger than me and around my same age or older, seems like in the last month has passed away and left us. And I'm going, wow.
I know.
Now, have you ever done this though? Because, Facebook reconnects you with old high school people and stuff.
Right.
And of course, I knew, when I was a senior, I may have been known to date a freshman here or there. That's just the way I rolled.
Right.
So, a lot of these people now are
Your wife is out. Wait, your wife is out of the room, right?
Well,
she was there.
No, I can tell these stories because a lot of them are Facebook friends.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And I hope none of them are listening. At least I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about other people that were in your class. But you're looking at the yearbook and all of a sudden a picture pop. Well, I mean, when I see myself though, I think, oh my God, I look 90 years old.
Right.
But I'm looking at these girls, that were freshmen when I was in high school. And I look at the pictures now and I'm going, oh my God, she is old. But I guess you don't think as people younger than you, like 4 or 5, 6 years being
right.
I don't know. It's just, to me, it's weird sometimes. I'll see somebody's picture that I'll remember from, 20, 30 years ago. And I go, oh my God, you're old now. And then, well, duh, you're old now too.
Well, I hate to have to be the one to break this to you. 2030 is nothing. If you're talking high school, you're talking 50 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's
50 years. It's crazy.
I'm even talking about people that I knew in their 20s and 30s.
Oh, okay. All right. I get you.
Now I'm looking at, my son, and I don't want to talk out of school because I could be wrong. I don't know if I'm correct or not. So maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this because, yes, he is our boss and we may get the call. We're going in another direction after this one.
Oh, no, let's talk trash about him anyway. Go ahead.
I didn't ask, but my wife noticed the same thing.
What's that?
He was in Central Florida over the weekend, him and his family.
Right.
And we kind of palled out, hung out together. I think he has darker hair now. Now, does he have darker hair because he's touching up a little gray? Or is he have darker hair now because it is longer? I mean, he's always been kind of the well-groomed kid, kept his hair somewhat sport.
Yeah.
So it is grown out. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's it. But the wife and I, he's like, we're in line at one place to get, because we were at Disney World. We're going to the Cirque du Soleil show there.
Nice.
And he was in one line and we were in another line, and we just kind of both, I asked her the question and she agreed with me. So maybe I need to add, well, like I said, folks, this might be the last week of the podcast.
Inquiring minds want to know, is our boss artificially enhancing his hair color or not? I am not. I am not. You are not. Well, I'm not so sure about you.
No, I don't.
Okay.
My problem, you do have gray on the side, and
okay.
My problem is not the gray hair.
No, it's the lack.
My problem, that's my problem is, especially up here. I used to have lots of hair there, and now it's like a hair here, hair there.
Yeah.
It's
Thankfully, this is not a video podcast, because for a rare occasion where BJ Odom is not wearing one of his signature baseball hats. And you can see it's a little that's a little thin on top.
Yeah, a little gray on the sides.
Gray on the sides, thin on top.
The top is not really gray, but the hairs that are left, they seem to be pretty natural in color.
And I've got tons of it, but it's plenty gray, so I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, so I did want to circle back our very famous thing. You were talking about how people look on Facebook and other places in shall we say, their more senior years, in their old age. I hate to say that, but it's true. And it's funny because I've noticed that, you and I we've talked about this on the podcast in previous episodes, that, yes, I'm still single and I'm on a couple of the dating sites and all of that sort of thing. And it's interesting and weird and a little scary to see the differences between the people, and I have to say ladies, because I'm looking at ladies online and all of that. And it's like, some of them are like, oh my gosh, that's my mother. They look like, they're my age, mid 60s or maybe late 60s, maybe, because I think my preference is like 50 to 70 or something like that. I don't know. But some of them are like, oh my God, that's my mother. It's, and then some of them are like, oh, that's very pretty. You're obviously taking care of yourself. So the difference is, like when we were in our 20s and 30s, we kind of all had that look. If you took care of yourself, even a little bit, from high school through college, through whatever. But now I notice as we get older, the differences start to show even more. That you can really tell the ones that are like, okay, they're working to take care of themselves and eat well and all of that good stuff, versus the ones that are like, obviously you've given up.
Another thing too, like people that I knew, let's just say when I was in my 20s and 30s, that were children then.
Mm-hmm.
And so you always kind of think of them as children.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, someone you haven't seen for 20 years, maybe 25 years.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it hits you in the face. Oh my God, if you're that old, how old am I?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. When you notice, and props to my ex, Miss Paula, for saying that. She always, because she and I never had kids by our choice, but we would always say we could judge the passing of time by watching other people's kids. And you would notice that it's like, oh my God, that 3-year-old is now in high school or whatever, and it's like, okay, we must be getting older now. So yeah, it was definitely weird.
Yeah, that's like my niece's daughter.
Right.
Which I guess would be my great niece. I remember her in diapers and holding her as a baby and
right.
Thinking, okay, she's a little one. Now she has a family with 2 kids of her own.
Yep.
My grandson, little Jordan, who is now working to be a pilot, trying to get his pilot's license. He's out of school. And
how old is he?
I know he's at least 21. He may be 22.
Wow.
And just to think that is just like, and little Faither used to be the baby of the family.
Right.
She's now a freshman in high school. And you just think.
You could be a great grandparent.
I could be.
Easily.
Oh, yes.
How's that feel, Dad?
I don't mind it as much as I think my son might mind it if it happened right around now. But
if he becomes a grandfather, yeah, no kidding.
It's just, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just when you're young, and listen up, young people, gather around the speakers here. When you're young, you just feel, and even like when I was in my 30s and early 40s, I still felt like I was young. I might have been in a 40-year-old body, but I felt like I was, 28, 26, I felt like I was in my 20s. But then once you get into the 50s, you start scratching your head. And by the time you hit your 60s, you're going, you know what? I am grown up now. I am old. I don't have the whoopstas that I used to whoopsta.
The what?
I don't know. That's a made up word, a hoopsta.
Okay, fine. All right.
You got your hoopsta? You got your hoopsta?
I hope I do. I really hope I do. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I hear that. And a lot of people say, I guess it's kind of a cliche or one of those things in life that it's like, you don't really grow up until you've lost both parents. Because now you're not anybody's, you're always somebody's son or daughter. I get that. But mom or dad not there, you're like, okay, it's you now.
Yes.
And my mother's been gone now for 5 years, 6 years. My dad's probably been gone for 10 years. My mother probably 5 years. So yeah, I'm not going to say it's like it hit me like the proverbial ton of bricks, but there was that, no, you do think, okay, I'm it now. That's, there's nobody else left on the backside, there's nobody above me on the food pyramid, on the network marketing pyramid.
Yes. I look at my family my brother's gone, who was older than me,
Mm-hmm.
which we never thought that would happen. We always thought the sickly little boy that was always, in mommy's arms and not out in the field with daddy would be the first to go. But
shout out to Mick, wherever he is. What a good guy. I've met him many times.
Great guy. But, his wife,
right,
who, is now aging, she's still around.
Right.
But really, as far as I consider her family, because believe it or not, my brother is one of those guys that married his high school sweetheart. They dated in high school. They grew up and got married. They stayed married till, death do you part.
Hats off.
And it's like, so I've known her because my brother's 8 years older than me.
Yes.
So he's dating her in high school. So really, as far as my memory is, of course, maybe there's a few instances that I can remember as a small child that she wasn't around.
Right.
But in all honesty, she's been around almost my entire life. So I've told her this many times. If I ever would have a sister, you are the closest thing I will ever have as a sister, because she was like a sister. I mean, I remember when they were first dating, we'd go to a drive-in movie. They'd set me in the back, and my brother would try to push my head down in the back seat, like, just leave us alone. We're busy up here. Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain. Stay down.
Well, hats off to your brother for taking you to the drive-in movie with him and his date. And
probably
then
my mother made him. I wouldn't. I don't think.
I see.
Oh, Mom, can I take little BJ to the drive-in movie? I have a date this Friday night.
And did Mom ask you to report on what the older brother was doing after the fact?
No, but now I will tell you.
Were you a spy?
I will tell you this, though. Speaking of older brothers, I'm not going to say the word because I know BJ and Bill don't use the word, but you can use it on a podcast. That little F word that, we on this podcast do not say.
Right. Good for us.
Growing up as a child, riding around with my brother and his friends, when they wanted to go fast, his friend would say, F it. And all of a sudden you'd hit the gas and, spin out or do whatever. So for the longest time, I thought to go fast was to F it.
That's awesome. In a weird way.
Yeah. So like one day, I think we were in a car or something with my parents. And I think I said, oh, let's F it.
And how did that go over, Mr. Odom? That's funny.
I think when I explained it, I wasn't in trouble. Someone else was in trouble.
Okay. Fair enough, because you're just a little kid. You learn what's going on. You learned about the world from what's going on around you, and you picked up on something, and there you go. So maybe the older brother caught some flack for that.
Yeah, I just thought that's what that word meant. So when I said, oh, my brother says it all the time, doesn't it mean to like push on the gas pedal and go back?
I love that. That's a classic. That's a classic BJ Odom moment in history. I think we've just heard it right here, folks.
Oh,
so next time you're in the car,
having an older brother was very interesting. And I remember one time too, when he was babysitting,
right,
we had a basement. And so him and a friend they were in the basement. And of course they left me upstairs. And
right
after a while, I'm like, hey, why isn't anybody playing with me? Where's, and I'll give the guy's name now. He's still alive, actually. Bill. It was another Bill.
Another Bill.
He wasn't Bill Stevens. He was Bill Steele. I'll say that name. I'll throw you under the bus, Bill Steele. But
he's 90 now?
Yeah, right. But they were in the basement and they were smoking.
Uh-oh.
And so they were running around like I couldn't catch him. And I was trying to catch him and everything else. And so finally I caught him and there was that cigarette. And I go, what's that? This is a cigarette. How about we give you one and don't tell mom and dad? Well, little BJ never could keep a secret.
No.
So he told mom what was going on.
Wow.
And
you
again,
ratted out your brother.
And again, I was in no trouble at all. Real sorry.
Well, you had a charmed life there, BJ Odom. You were a lucky man. Well, everybody's watching out for the sickly little kids. So but you played it. You played it well.
Yeah, I think that was tough on my brother because he had some heavy responsibilities to take care of his sickly little brother.
Well, he did it. So God
Although
bless him.
if everybody knew today what they knew then, knew then what they know today, is I'm the one that lived the longest and I'm the one that's still around. He probably would have gotten less trouble. Even I said, well, he's going to live, so I don't know. But we had a great relationship, but I did get him in trouble more than once. That's for sure.
In my family, I was the older brother, but I'm not going to say like it was, something, sickly sweet about it or whatever, but I was a good older brother. I didn't get anybody in trouble. Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure my younger brother, who's not here to defend himself, would say otherwise, but so there you go. And he's long.
Now, how many years difference?
3 years difference between us. I was 3 years older. Yeah, you were definitely the younger brother. So yeah.
Let's just say this.
Yes. I was,
not that they didn't love me, but I was like, okay, we're done having kids, and we're not going to have no more kids. It's I guess they thought whatever made children wasn't going to work anymore. And well, guess what? What they were doing still made one more.
So you're saying that you were maybe like a surprise?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. All right.
My wife just shouted from the other room, accident. I was no accident. I was a surprise. I was like the birthday present you never thought you would get.
The gift that keeps on giving. Tony Robbins always says that. I've seen a couple of videos of Tony Robbins where he'll bring somebody up on stage and say, so I'm guessing like most humans, you love surprises. And they go, oh yeah, I love surprises. And he goes, that's bull crap. You don't love surprises. You love surprises that go your way.
Oh, never thought
having a
of it
flat tire, that's a surprise. I'm betting you don't want that. Having an IRS audit, that's a surprise. I'll bet you don't like that. So yeah, surprises, as long as it's good as a good. So I don't know if BJ was a happy surprise or the IRS audit surprise. I don't know.
I don't know. They never said I was a sad surprise, but they never, I guess, said I was. I don't know.
You're fine. It's too late to worry. Yeah.
It was. Let's just say this. I was a shock. I think I was a shock surprise. Like, how did that happen? I can explain it to them now.
And again, to quote my ex for the second time today, and I don't think she made this line up, but she's used it many times over the years for those kinds of, shall we say, surprises. She'll say, after years and years of scientific research, scientists have determined what causes babies. It's like,
storks cause babies.
Oh, really?
You get rid of all the storks, you won't have no babies.
Apparently there were plenty of storks in Indiana at the time.
In fact, I've heard that if you live in a red state, storks aren't even allowed to fly overhead anymore and drop babies.
That's an interesting bit of politics that we'll probably avoid for now, but it's good. I like that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Maybe we should just take a break here. Is it that time? Maybe this would be a good time to take a break so I can cool down. We don't want any soapbox notices this week.
I kind of did go off on a few things last week. I listened back to that and I went like, whoa, Bill, decaf, big fella, decaf. So yes, we will take a quick break. Go get yourself your favorite caffeinated or decaffeinated beverage, and we will be right back. And welcome back. Bill Stevens here, BJ Odom over there, as we've now figured out what causes babies in various red versus blue state. We're going to move on from that. I wanted to hear more. I think the world needs to know about this. We were talking before we came on the air today, and BJ Odom was telling me all about how his wife has this transportation contraption in her house that she uses to move stuff around, and then how they use it. So you have this foldable garden wagon.
I don't know if you call it. It's like made of a really heavy material.
Okay.
It's kind of like a shopping cart, but it's much lower to the ground.
Right.
And I've actually seen people go to the beach with these things. I've seen people
Right.
shopping, but basically
Right.
it folds down to about the size of a stroller.
Right. But
And then,
what you were saying, and this is the interesting part to me, is that this thing gets put to work when you check into a hotel, so you can bring up all the stuff that is needed for a hotel stay.
Let's just say this, but I know my wife is listening, so I don't know how much I want to get into this. I think you're just trying to get me in trouble today.
Maybe
But
a
I'll
little.
tell you, I put my backpack over my back.
Yes,
I don't need any wheels.
I hear you.
But now, she's got don't know if it's going to be hot, don't know if it's going to be cold, don't know if it's going to rain, don't know if it's going to be sunny. So she has to take a little bit of everything.
Right.
But a lot of times when you go to hotels and you pull in and you want to unload and you want to take the stuff up to your, hotel room.
Right.
There's no carts.
Right.
So there's been times where, we wanted to leave a hotel or we got to a hotel and we would sit for half hour waiting for someone to bring back a cart. And I don't know if they keep them in their rooms. I don't know if the bellboy hides them. I don't know what happens, but 90% of the time there's none to be found. And if there is, one of the wheels definitely doesn't work. That's why it's the one that's left there where you can find it.
Kind of like that lone shopping cart when you walk into Walmart, there's one left in the corral there, and it's like, that one, the wheel's busted on it. Yeah.
So we got this and it works great.
Cool.
We can load it up and it's got, big sturdy wheels and handle on it. So if you got to go up, but even if you you take the elevator, obviously.
Right.
But if you got to go over a curb or something.
Okay.
The way it's designed, it's not too hard to get it to go up over a curb.
I'm just enjoying the visual of, BJ Odom loading up a wagon in the parking lot and then rolling in with his, little kid's toy there to bring stuff into the hotel. But I get it. That's why they invented wheels on suitcases, which is the greatest invention since sliced bread. But, and now, I guess I should say that I understand, because I used to travel with a lady that was like, Bill would have his one bag, not a backpack, but great idea, by the way, but one little overnight roller suitcase that's, it's about 18 inches tall by, a foot wide or whatever. So I would have my one pair of jeans and my one pair of swim trunks and a couple of spare underwears and, that kind of thing. And she would have bags and suitcases and makeup kits and all of it. So yes, you're right. I did spend quite a bit of time searching for those, roller things, those carts to move stuff around in a hotel. So I totally get it. I just find it kind of hilarious that you're using the little, kid's wagon for it. So.
Well, I have seen people, but they don't allow them anymore.
What's that?
But they used to allow these wagons in Disney World. Like if you had kids, and you want to,
Oh, you can't do that anymore.
No, I guess they're too big, so they don't allow them in, unless you have some kind of special needs child or something.
Right. Can you bring a stroller? Can you bring a stroller?
You can bring a stroller.
Okay.
You can't bring like these wagons because it's like probably, 4 feet, 5. I mean, it's like a big, if you have one of those, and of course, obviously it's higher.
Yeah.
It's probably 3 times as high as what a regular pull, like a wagon you'd pull, you would pull.
Sure.
Probably the walls are 3 or 4 times higher and it's a little bit bigger, but it's about like, one of those wagons that a kid will, had as a kid and you pull behind.
So bottom line now, so fast forward to BJ moving into the new house. So this thing's being put to use to shuttle stuff like an Amazon warehouse, to shuttle stuff around the house and get everything positioned in place.
Oh yeah. Cause when we had the movers drop the stuff off,
right.
They put cause if we had to tell them like, okay, that box goes there, that box goes there, that box goes there, because, they were charging by the hour.
Right.
So we said, all right, unload everything in the garage, except, take, the bed here in this room, take the other bed in the other bedroom, take the couch here, take, the chair here,
sure.
But the boxes, just put them all in the garage.
So it looked like an Amazon warehouse, I'm sure.
It did look like it. I don't even think Amazon warehouses are that big, really. But but she takes this wagon out to the garage,
right?
And she like goes through and picks out the boxes that she wants to like unload and put away.
Right.
And she fills the wagon and then she brings it in. Then when the boxes get undone, she rolls it back out, puts the boxes in a little pile, and someone, which I will say is me, goes in there and breaks down the boxes.
Good.
And we have this so people will know how many boxes we had. And well, let's just say the like the recycling dump.
Yes.
We have a RAV4.
Yes.
Not that the thing was full, but you know, we like put the back seat down.
Yeah, no, a little SUV like my Hyundai Tucson. Yes.
And we would we'd fill it with a lot of boxes that were torn down.
Right.
Let's just say we've been to the dump 3 times now.
Wow.
Because we have like a real little recyclable bin.
Right.
So there's only the 2 of us. And in most cases, you know, we even if we have a heavy beer week, we still only kind of just barely, you know, we don't fill it unless there's a really big party weekend and we have friends over or something.
Right.
But usually, yeah, but now I'm trying to get at least 2 or 3 boxes in there every week now, because they will not pick up boxes, even if you tear them down and you set them right next to the recyclable bin. If we got to get out of, because now they got those big arms that come out, hug you.
Yeah. The truck that grabs the bin and throws it in and puts it back. Yep.
God forbid these days if they got to get out and pick anything up, because they will not. I don't care, back in the old days, kids.
Oh, wait, folks, look out. Old days warning.
You could put furniture out to the side of the road, you know, and the junk man or whatever would pick it up,
right,
throw it in the back of their truck.
Right.
Nowadays, if it's not in one of the bins, it ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going.
Now there are some places that you can call and say,
yes,
okay, I've got some big bulk items you need to pick up, but don't think you're going to put it outside the road and have the garbage man pick it up.
Where I lived in Sarasota or in Venice, I think you were allowed, I'm going to say once a quarter. I might be wrong. Once a quarter, you could call for big stuff and they would send a different truck, you know, with a grabber arm and all that. But, you know, they would, it could grab onto the big, like you said, if you were throwing out a couch or something and throw it in the back of a truck, just kind of loose. So, that's fine. But no, they're not. Nobody's stopping to get out of the truck. What are you kidding? So, that's it's got to fit in the bin. And then do you have now, I'll bet you also have HOA requirements that your bins have to be in, you know, you can't leave them out. You got to pull them.
I would say that probably is, but we have they have 3 sizes of bins.
Right. And
again, old timer alert. We have the small bins, you know, they're just 2 of us now. It's not like we got, 3 kids, 2 kids.
Right.
You know, it's not like it's 2 of us.
Right.
And half the time, as you know, and we've talking about this, we go out to eat.
Right.
So 2 of the smaller bins is perfect for us, except right now I'm kind of going, damn, we should have got the big bins. I could have got 20 more boxes in the big bins.
Right. Borrow one from a neighbor. Who knows? Or whatever. Or ask the neighbor if I can put some cardboard in your recycle bin.
I'm thinking about that because we have a neighbor that's next to us that actually he lives in Michigan. And this is his first home that he bought in Florida. And so he's not going to be a full timer.
Okay.
For now, he's going to be a snowbirder. And he's got big ones. And I've been thinking hey, do you mind if I put a few of my torn down boxes in your big old fat bin that you just have the bottom filled?
There you go. Be neighborly.
Yeah. So I may have to have it. But anymore, like I said, we're down to probably 20, 30 boxes. So it's not bad.
20, 30 left to unpack.
Well, I've got, let me see. It looks like 6 or 7 over there. And there's probably about another dozen in the garage now. We will be done.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that garage was, when we first moved in on January 20th, that garage was completely full.
So you're finding, that's wrong language. I would say you're finding room for all this. You are not finding room for Jack.
No, I'm not.
Your wife is finding room for everything that she has to unload and fix and all that. Well, good. Good for you. Good for her. Sorry, good for her. Let's give credit where credit is due.
Again, though, I'm going to state as the plan was when we moved, she said, because it was a more expensive place.
Right.
And we actually, for the first time in probably 15 years, have a mortgage.
Wow.
So I told her, I said, we're going to do all this and this. I said, it's all you this time. I'll pack my stuff.
Right.
I'll unpack my stuff, but I got to admit, and even when my son came up here, and Amy was looking around going, oh my God, you have stuff on the walls already? You have this and that.
Right.
She goes, I can't, so they were really shocked because they know how long we've been here.
Well, it's been 6 weeks. Come on. January 20th, you moved in. It's been almost, 6 weeks.
Hey, we got our TV on the wall. For those of you who are listening to the last episode.
Oh, yeah. You mounted the TV on the wall.
Yep.
Good to hear.
Was that 2 episodes ago?
I don't remember.
Whatever, but I can just say that the TV is now on the wall.
And how's that working for you?
The TV stand now is full of knickknacks. That's all I'll say. And let's move on to the next subject.
One of these days you should maybe not now, but when it's done, you should go around and take like a bunch of pictures and post them to the BJ and Bill Facebook page, and so people can actually see what's going on with your, maybe not, I don't know, who cares, right? But speaking of which, by the way, if you'd like to share a story, we'd love to hear it. And I do notice that we're getting people are liking and commenting on our page. If you go to Facebook, all you got to do is do a search for BJ and Bill podcast, and you spell out the A-N-D, BJ A-N-D Bill podcast on Facebook. And it's the same email address if you want to email us, bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. So quick plug there. Quick plug.
And it seems like every day you will find like a random question. Like, what was your favorite song growing up? Who was your favorite female artist growing up? Where did you like to hang out when you were a kid? What was your favorite restaurant when all those little type questions. And some people think those are fun. And so what I'm trying to do is our Facebook guru that knows nothing about Facebook, trying to grow our audience a little bit.
That's awesome. I think that's a great idea. So feel free to join us over there on Facebook.
Yeah, comment on our posts. We'll appreciate it. And you can share them too. Then everybody will say, what's this BJ and Bill podcast thing? I don't know, Martha. Let's just check it out.
Perfect. Wherever, as we love to say, wherever you get your podcasts, you'll find us there. Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of them. We're everywhere.
And before too long,
we're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
I don't know if I want to let anything out of the bag or not. But before too long, you'll be able to hear BJ and Bill talk about the podcast on other podcasts. If you get your podcast from Spotify, we'll be making commercials to promote our podcast. As the bigger bosses say, that we will promote our podcast on podcasts that are similar to ours. But I don't know. I started thinking about it. What is there any podcasts that are anything at all like ours? I think ours is a little different. Two old guys just talking about
life.
Nothing.
Yeah, just talking about life, whatever. So, but no, and to answer your question, I'm not going to say I've done an extensive search because there's thousands and thousands of podcasts, but I've never heard anything like this. I mean, most of them are like big, important interviews with well-known names talking about important stuff. And it's like, yeah, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. We just talk.
We're kind of like my son's podcast, but we're two old guys. The one that not his Backstage with Gentry Thomas.
Yeah, I was going to say he gets famous people on that.
Yeah, but his other podcast, the Outcast podcast, he is like the moderator.
Okay.
There's a black guy. There's a white guy. There's a Mexican guy. And then, white, black, Mexican. I think there's one more race in there maybe somewhere. I think there's 5 of them that do it. But yeah, it's called the Outcast Podcast. And basically, they're all outcasts from, let's just say they all worked at radio stations that went in another direction.
Oh, really? All of them?
Pretty much. I think Ramo G still may do a few things. You got Ramo G, who used to be on The Beat.
Right.
He was actually there when we were at Oldies 95.
Okay.
You got Memphis, which I think later after we were gone, I think he might have been on 105.
Yeah, I don't know that name.
Been on a lot.
I know the city, but I don't know it as a personality.
Yeah, he's been on a lot. I think he's even been in some major markets.
Cool.
And then he's got TK, who is kind of like the resident, I don't want to call him a redneck, but he's kind of like the resident, just white boy.
Country boy.
Very conservative. And,
right.
Of course, some of them aren't conservative. And it's not, politically driven, but it's an interesting podcast to listen to. And let's say they will use the F word every once in a while.
I will give it a listen because I'm woefully undereducated on the podcasts that our very own company is putting out there. Like I said, except for your son's, which, he's got some big names and I've listened to some of those interviews. So cool. But yeah,
let's just promote another one, a couple more of his.
Sure.
They do the Vinyl Boys.
The Vinyl Boys.
Yeah. What they do, they take a record, like those things called albums. They're round.
I remember record albums. Yes.
Yeah, they were record albums, and they came out of a sleeve, and you'd put
big,
them on this
round,
thing called a record
plastic,
player,
black vinyl. Yeah,
and you'd put the needle down, and it would make sounds, and the music would come out.
Yes.
They just dropped the needle throughout the album, and kind of rate and talk about the album.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So the Vinyl Boys.
And what kind of vinyl? I mean, is it like old classic stuff?
A little bit of everything.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit of everything. You might hear Billy Joel. You might hear AC/DC.
Okay.
You might hear even a hip hop album. It's all genres.
Cool. But it's real vinyl.
It's real vinyl. Yeah. It's real vinyl records that they use. And if you've ever been to the studio, the walls are like covered with vinyl record covers.
I've seen pictures. Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then of course he has another one that he has nothing. I mean, he produces it, but it's all, well, I don't even think they're in high school anymore. I think they're in college. But a bunch of high school kids started putting it together when they were seniors. And I think they've had it now for a couple years.
Wow.
And they're putting that one out. And then he has Mamas with Attitude.
MWA.
There's basically some mamas, and they got, they talk about if you have little children, middle children, big kids, and they have a little bit of an attitude, I guess, because that's why it's called Mamas with Attitude.
I love that.
And he produces all those shows.
Yes.
And of course, the IA report, and also the
AI. The AI report. Yeah.
Did you ever listen to that?
I have not yet. Artificial intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And then he has oh man, this is what happens when you get old. You forget
stuff. Yeah.
Derek Harris.
Okay.
Has a podcast that's pretty good.
Awesome.
So he has a lot, and he has a lot, as they say, in his stable.
Oh, stable of podcasts. And those are all available from the podcastplayground.com, by the way.
Plus a lot of other podcasts. Any podcast you're looking for, you can find on the Podcast Playground.
Right. You gotta use the or the whatever. And
because there is another Podcast Playground, and I don't know who it is or why it's there, but it's a fake.
We're taking them over anyway. It's a takeover. It's all good. So that's a little inside radio there. Well, we used to say inside radio. Now that's inside podcast now. So yeah, there are I walk or ride my bike, mostly walk every day. And every day I have a podcast going in my ear as I walk for an hour. So there's so much good stuff. I mean, really, really great interviews from really smart people who have done their research, who have done, that are not just not like you and me, where we're just, yakking for an hour. These are people that have they've read the book, they've done the work, they've got the homework, they've done it, they've lined up big name people for interviews, and it's so super interesting to listen to and all that. So yeah. Hey, Bill Stevens. I'm listening. We've done the work. We did. We have lived on this earth nearly 130 years between the two of us. So we've done the work. We've done 130 years of research for this program. Don't tell me we haven't done the work. Good point, damn it. Good point, Mr. Odom. Thank you. I feel better already. Jeez, I got up on my soapbox there for a minute there. I feel much better now, having known that my life. That's like in a job, do you have a degree for it? No, but I have 20 years experience. Oh, okay. That used to count for something. I don't know if it does anymore, but in the old days, air quotes, that, years of experience used to count for that kind of a thing. And I think it still does, especially for, now that I'm on that, like you said, on the, upper end of the spectrum there. It's like, yeah, all that wisdom and experience counts for something.
Well, that's like even on the BJ and Bill's show when we were on radio stations
Yes.
throughout Southwest Florida.
Yes.
Like even going to the store and something happening, or going to Mel's Diner and something happening, we'd go, show prep for tomorrow morning.
Oh my God. There was
So
always something.
We now have 130 years of show prep.
That works for me. 130 years of show. When that would go back to, let's see, it's 2020. That would be back like 1890 or something like that.
Well, ours were like combined.
Yeah.
Combined.
We've served them at like 2 life sentences served concurrently. You serve them at the same time. So that's what we're doing. Our experience is concurrent, although it's been different because we've come from different places. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome. That's great. So go out and find a good podcast, listen to it, support that medium, and not so much. And it fries my mind to say, listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about instead of mainstream media. And I feel a rant coming, so I'm going to try and not do it. But as somebody who was in I wasn't in it. I was mainstream media for my entire career in the broadcast business. And now as I listen and watch these cable news channels, whatever side you pick, it doesn't matter what side you pick. They tell you the story that you want. They want you to hear. They want you to know from their side of things. And for my money, podcasts so much better because they're actually getting listening to people and giving them an hour to talk rather than a 15-second soundbite. So go find a good podcast, whatever your passion is, whatever your hobby, your interest, your love. Doesn't have to be politics. It can be anything. There are so many good podcasts out there. Go find one. You'll thank me later.
Cleanse your mind. Get away from politics.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Find something else to be involved with. Your hobbies, your community. Sports, awesome.
Which was awesome. We're not talking sports today, not on this show.
Wait a minute. Something must have happened because you and I were texting over the weekend and you said that I said, enjoy some sports or whatever. And you told me I think I'm probably going to pick on a scar here or a scab that, yeah, you had a basketball game to watch because the Warriors and
Steph Curry returned to the Warriors,
lost. And then you had a NASCAR event too, as well, right?
And my driver. Now I was going to talk about this today, but I don't know how much time we got left.
No, we got 10 minutes. Go ahead.
I would like your opinion on this because and I know basketball and a few sports, they are really kind of strict with what you do with your own time. If you are a high level, high paid sports athlete.
And we just had an example of that this week, but go ahead.
NASCAR. I mean, I know a lot of people go, yeah, right. NASCAR is a high level, high paid sport.
I would agree with that. Especially with the money. Yes.
Yeah. So one of my favorite drivers, Chase Elliott.
Okay.
Went snowboarding. Broke a leg.
Oops.
Had like a 4-hour surgery.
Oh boy.
Was unable to race on Sunday. And now I don't know what is that? Fibia? What's the leg what's the bone in your leg?
Tibias, fibias, all that stuff.
Whatever his fibius was,
Fibia.
It broke.
It broke. Okay.
And so he had a 4-hour surgery to repair it.
Wow.
So how long I know you can race a car in a cast because they've done it before.
Really?
Oh yeah. They've broken arms and they've still been able to drive cars.
Wow.
But I would almost bet it's not going to be 1 week.
Oh no.
I bet it's not going to be 2 weeks.
Oh no. Did he break his left or right leg?
I didn't ask them when they were explaining it on television.
Well, because if it's a right leg, that's
true. And you got your clutch with the left.
You got a clutch with the left, right? But it's gas and brake with the right. So I would imagine if you had your choice, you'd probably want to break the left leg if you had to break one of them. You don't want to break either, obviously, stupid thing. But so anyway, Chase is Out.
He's out at least probably for a few weeks. I mean,
right.
My guess, and I am no doctor when it comes to broken.
We don't even play one on TV.
But I would say at least 4 weeks, maybe.
I don't know, maybe.
But like I said, these sports guys, they like going because he was already going into rehab the next day. He was starting his rehab the day after the surgery. So, maybe 2 weeks. That would be on a good 2 weeks. But I don't know. And so what my question was going to be, like, what do you think of a high level, high paid sports figure, which their income is from a sport? What level of risk? Maybe he thought snowboarding wasn't that big a risk. I don't know. But what risk level do you put yourself through, especially when you're in season? It's not like you're just starting the season. You're at the top of the season with NASCAR. And of course, I've known basketball players, they've done it too. And a lot of teams, because you can make pretty darn good money, even these professional sports players, to go overseas during the off season and play. And that's same in hockey. And I know some of these organizations won't allow you to. Now, of course, and that's probably the proper thing to say. He races for Hendricks Motorsports, and, the big head honcho said, well, we wish him the best, and we're sorry that it happened. We give him our full support. But aren't you going, hey, you idiot, we pay you a lot of money to race these cars. And now we're going to be in a big hole as far as the point system when you get back.
So my question, yes, to all of that. I'm sure on the outside, they're saying we wish him the best, speedy recovery, Godspeed, blah, blah, blah. On the inside, they're probably, like you said, going, what an idiot. Now, like you said, snowboarding, what could possibly go wrong? And then you break a leg doing snowboarding. B, and I don't know this, you're the NASCAR guy, you tell me, does that team have a backup driver that they can play, like a second string guy?
Did yesterday. They used a backup driver.
Right.
And the way it works, you have team points.
Right.
That you can get, and you have like individual driver points. And of course, everybody's playing for the championship.
Right.
Individually. It's not the team. The teams, well, I mean, I think there is a team winner too at the end of the season. And it's all on a point system.
Right.
So yeah, your backup driver, not going to be as good as your main driver.
No,
of course not. He's a backup driver, or he'd be driving for somebody.
Hello, Kyle Trask.
So the whole organization will be getting less points.
Right.
But now if you're like thinking, I want my number 9 car to be in the playoffs, although it is you win and you're in, as long as you're in the top, I think it's 20 or 25 or something like that at the end of the season, which is, even if he's out for 4 weeks, it's still achievable to be in the playoffs with just a win. But, I don't know. That's why I just kind of threw that out there.
Yeah. I mean, and we're coming up on time, so I don't want to open a whole nother box of worms here. But yeah, there was an incident this week as we released this podcast in the NBA where one of the really young superstars put out an Instagram video that showed some things that I'm sure the league was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. That's not what we're here for. So, and he's out a couple of games on suspension or whatever. I don't know if it's a suspension. They probably told him, like, take a couple of days, clear your head, whatever, so we don't have to suspend you. So anyway, so yeah, I get it. So your question, I think, was, should those guys even be doing that? And probably not. I mean, you probably got to keep your head in the game to be like, you have a job, especially like you said, in season. Now, if it's off season, if LeBron James wants to go snowboarding after the basketball season ends, which I don't know if he could do that or not, but anyway, knock yourself out, and then you have time to recover if you injure yourself or whatever. But yeah, I think you need to be a little more mindful of that, because stuff happens. Crazy stuff happens all the time. And you're, especially with NASCAR. If you're a golfer, the only person losing money is you and your caddy, right? if you miss an event, a big event, because you broke a leg snowboarding, you're the one that's going to be missing the points and the money and the appearance fees and all of that stuff. You and your caddy. Okay, fine. If it's a NASCAR team, like you said, that with the millions and millions of dollars that it takes to put a team together like that, if you're, what does it say, Hendrick Racing? I mean, yes. Good golly, you're just I'm not saying you're not important. You are an important cog in the wheel, but it'd be like, wow, really? Seriously? LeBron James is out for a couple of weeks with that ankle problem. The Lakers they'll be lucky to, they beat your Warriors the other day, but yeah, they're going to have to step it up. So anyway.
And I don't know. I don't know. Basketball is sometimes weird because Steph was actually on his first game back and he actually got hurt playing the game of basketball during a regular game.
That
LeBron
happens all the time.
Got hurt playing basketball.
I get that.
Game. He wasn't snowboarding.
Snowboarding.
Anyway, I don't know. I've always been a Chase Elliott fan, but
right.
I may have to slowly make us. Well, it's not slowly making a switch because I was rooting for him too.
But
I love the Watermelon Man.
Watermelon Man.
Yes, the
Watermelon. All right, you totally got me on that one. Who are we talking about?
Car number one. And now that I'm old, Ross Chastain you remember where we used to broadcast from Fort Myers, Florida?
Yes.
Remember a little town called LaBelle?
Yes.
Well, actually Alva, which is between Fort Myers and LaBelle.
Even smaller than LaBelle.
He grew up on a big old watermelon farm, being a watermelon farmer. And now he's in NASCAR and he was in the playoffs last year. He's a good driver and so every time, here's what's cool about that. Every time he wins, which, he's won a few races through his career, he smashes a watermelon at the finish line. Somebody brings out a big old watermelon and plop.
Awesome. Just like what's his name? I forgot the name. The comedian.
See, it happens to all of us.
Old age.
I told my wife today, I said, I forget simple things that I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I'll go, and I'll just forget my train of thought. I go, I think I need to be tested.
One of those mental clarity tests or something like that. Like the politicians all say they should be taking
this podcast.
Snowboarding. Let's go snowboarding. How do you break a leg like that snowboarding? How does that even happen?
I could see it.
Now I understand he's probably young. He's probably a young, hunky guy, and he's probably doing things that I wouldn't do on a snowboard. I get it. He's probably doing crazy stuff. I get it. But still, how do you do it?
You fall down.
That's what I'm saying. If yours truly falls down while snowboarding, I'm on the bunny hill or whatever,
he wasn't probably on no bunny hill.
I'm sure he was not.
On the fastest hell bunny trail. He was probably on the Jackrabbit Trail.
Didn't see those trees coming, step out in front of him. Probably. I get it. I do. So, all right. Well, Chase, what's his name? Chase Elliott. Number 9 car. Number 9, Chase Elliott. Get well soon. We miss you. Well, BJ misses you. I don't watch NASCAR.
But I don't know. I might be just 100% on Chess team.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Ross's team.
He's ready to jump ship or car.
I just want to see him smash a watermelon. That's all.
I am going to
root for the Warriors all the way through, but I don't think they'll win the championship this year, but I think it'll be still fun to watch them, especially if they're healthy.
Before you and I started this podcast, I just completed the latest blog post for shackfooradio.com. Yet another entry in the stable of our podcast playground. So yes, and it was all about Shaq says, hey, James Harden, hey, Joel Embiid, it's time to win. And so we'll see. I don't know.
And there's a whole storyline on that.
There is a whole storyline on that too, and we're out of time.
Well, hopefully next week we'll be able to have an episode. It all depends on how I make out on the snowboard course later. But
you tell me. You tell me where you find snowboarding in Central Florida, Mr. Odom. I'll come join you.
Hey, I will tell you this about Central Florida.
Yes.
It's around Lake Placid, not Lake Placid, but where they have the Strawberry Festival.
Plant Strawberry.
City. Plant City. Somewhere in that area, there is, believe it or not, a snow top mountain that they do like in December where they bring all the snow in.
People
sled.
Yep.
People, have tubing.
Yep.
I don't know, man, they must bring in 1,000 trailers of snow to have all that go on, but it goes on for like a month.
There's also a place near Tampa, and maybe this is the same place. Maybe we're talking about the same thing. There's a place called Snowcat Ridge.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've been there. I have been there. A friend had a birthday party there or something, and we met up with 4 or 5 people there. It was okay. The day we were there, it was a lot warmer than we thought it would be. And if it's that warm, they can't make snow fast enough to go down. But still, I mean, it was cute. You get your tube and you go down the hill, and it's kind of fun. And it was okay to try one time. It was okay to try. Maybe they'll get it better. Maybe they'll make more snow or make it more freezable or something. I don't know. But it was cute and fun once. And now, okay.
I know they've been there at least 2 years. Because remember, I was working at the radio station there.
Yep.
In Lakeland. And it's right outside of Lakeland. I think it's either in Dade City or Plant City.
Yes.
We used to give away, as we did in the radio biz, get your free tickets to Snowcat Ridge.
Snowcat Ridge.
Yeah. So we were doing that. And,
Shout out to Snowcat Ridge.
That's how I knew about it, or I would never have known about it. See,
all right,
folks,
Mr. Odom.
Advertising works because they advertised. I heard the advertisement and I knew it was existing.
Feel free to advertise on the BJ and Bill Show. Just get a hold of us at the podcast Playground, and you too can have your commercial on our wildly popular podcast. Right?
It'll be even more popular after we start doing these ads on other podcasts.
That we will. So everybody, you have a great week, Mr. Odom.
See ya.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.